He's always been a rebel. Now, he's about to become a hero. Tuff Turf. Featuring music by Southside Johnny, Lena Lovitch, Marianne Faithfull, Jim Carroll, and...
Hello, World Film Geekdom. It's your friendly neighborhood World Film Geek, Albert Valentin. Welcome to this month's Throwback Cinema review. We are talking about 1985's Tuff Turf, directed by Fritz Kearts and starring James Spader, Robert Downey Jr., and Kim Richards. This is your typical high school film of the 80s where a new kid comes to a new school, falls for a girl, and the girl's boyfriend just happens to be a local gang boss. But there's a little twist with this particular film. This one has a few more musical numbers than quite expected. So, as usual, I'll talk a bit about the film, give you possibly a little bit of trivia, and let's get right into it, because this is quite a fun movie, and to the fact that it runs almost 2 hours, it's crazy, but either way, I still had fun with this one, so let's get right into talking about it. So the film takes place in Los Angeles, as with most films back in the 80s with this type of setting. Well, there's this businessman who gets kind of tricked by Frankie, who's the girlfriend of our antagonist, Nick, and Frankie's played by the one and only Kim Richards, who just the year before appeared in Meatballs Part 2, but everyone might know her from the 70s when she starred in the Witch Mountain films for Disney. Well, anyway, Nick and his gang start harassing this businessman, where out of nowhere, a kid on a bike shows up and kind of stops this gang from harming the businessman and catches the attention of Frankie. And that's our new kid in town, Morgan Hiller, played by the one and only James Spader, who earlier in 1985 terrorized the hell out of fans with The New Kids, which we reviewed a few months ago. So anyway, Morgan is in LA because his family ran a business and it went under. So they moved to LA for a fresh start. And the family's made up of Morgan, his dad, his mom, and his brother. Morgan is kind of a troublemaker in a way. He thinks he's better than everyone else, but as he realizes, things don't go as planned. And eventually he does make a friend in Jimmy Parker, played by the one and only Robert Downey Jr. And the two hit it off, and there's a scene where Jimmy invites Morgan to his band's gig at a local club. And the funny part is where he tells them how to get to the club, and I think Quagmire might want to attend this as well, but see for yourself what I'm talking about.
Yeah, want to come see my band tonight?
Sure. Where?
You go down here, down this main drag, right? Past all these sleazy porno shops.
Okay.
It's on the left-hand side, campus.
Porno shops?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there.
Good.
Oh, giggity, 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 ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
So, of course, Morgan gets to the club, and he sees Jimmy play, and there's this girl in the audience who has a thing for Jimmy. She has a big crush on him. And all of a sudden, Frankie, Nick, and the gang show up, and instantly Morgan and Frankie lock eyes, and you could tell there's this big attraction between them. And Morgan instantly falls for Frankie, much to the chagrin of Nick. Well, Frankie kind of wants to get away from Nick because he's very controlling, and she's kind of growing tired of his antics. So eventually, she decides to go on a date with Morgan, and excuse me. They go to a country club where Morgan's family is, and in another music scene, Morgan serenades Frankie in front of the entire crowd with a little song, which kind of sounds. But I gotta say, man, if this is really James Spader singing, kudos to him, man. He's got quite the voice on him.
I walk the night, fighting the darkness that breaks our hearts. We hold each other tight.
And of course, Frankie and Morgan's relationship starts to take its toll on Nick. Nick is very ticked off. He still thinks he owns Frankie, and of course, this will lead to a series of events where Morgan and Nick have this constant rivalry. They're trying to one-up each other, but then things go too far when Nick beats the living crap out of Morgan's dad and puts him in the hospital. And this leads to Morgan to finally having had enough, and of course, he's going to go get revenge on Nick and the gang. And at the same time, Nick also kidnaps Frankie, so Morgan's out to kill two birds with one stone by stopping Nick, avenging his dad, and rescuing the girl he loves. And what's quite funny is in this final action set piece, he does a bit of Tarzan-like action. So check this out for yourself.
Come on.
That's pretty much it. This is your typical 1980s film where, a new kid comes to town, falls for the girl. The girl's someone close to the girl is like the antagonist. Some shit starts, of course. It's pretty much what you would expect. But what I like about these films is each brings something unique to the table with these films. And that's why I like watching this type of genre, these throwbacks of these high school action flicks from the 80s, because despite the fact that it's all kind of the core plot is redundant, there's like an element that tends to be different from one another. In this case, in the case of Tuff Turf, it's music. Like I mentioned, you got Robert Downey Jr.'s band in the film, and then you also have another, James Spader singing. But then, if you think that's not crazy enough, the final credits roll, and there is the whole damn thing is a music scene. It's practically a music video within the end credits from a band called Jack Mack and the Heart Attack. And the only other song I remember them doing was, I think they did the end theme song to the original Police Academy. I think that was them. It sounded like them. I'm pretty sure it was. But anyway.
JB, is that who I think that is?
That's that same woman I saw the other night, Mark.
Oh, Lord, everybody's got a treat. Move the tables.
I think I need an ambulance.
Oh, 3 or 4 nurses, too, because this girl is fine. Oh, man. Woo, I'll tell you something, baby. You're the reason.
Okay, so first a little trivia on one of the supporting characters. It's the character of Feather. She is played by Katya Satsoon. If that last name sounds familiar, it's because she was the daughter of the famed Vidal Sassoon. If you don't look good, we don't look good. She would go on to work for the same company as Tuff Turf New World, but actually the offshoot of New World called Concord for Roger Corman, where she became in the 90s she did a couple action films, including a lead role in a film called Angel Fist, which is kind of like a female-led remake of Blood Fist, and she has a topless fight scene in this movie. It's but sadly, Kat Sassoon died in 2002, so condolences out to her family, and that's one. But here's some trivia about the actual film itself. The film was produced by Donald Borchers. He wanted to make a film after seeing R&B concert. He wanted to do an inspired kind of concert music type high school urban film, and at the time he was working for New World, and he had produced Fritz Kirch's previous film Children of the Corn, as well as the underrated film Angel, which is about a high schooler who moonlights as a hooker at night but then gets stalked by a serial killer. And then this led to 4 films in that franchise. It was Angel, Avenging Angel, which Angel became a cop going back to the streets, Angel 3 and Angel 4 Undercover. But the head of production did not want to make the film after Streets of Fire had bombed for Universal. He felt like the whole music meets urban action film was not working out, but Borchers had insisted on getting the film made, and he also claimed that the head of production wanted to change the title from Tuff Turf to Rules Don't Apply. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. The screenwriter of the film is credited as Jet Rink, and it turns out it's the legally adopted name of Ina May. It was taken from the James Dean character in the film Giant. She wrote the film in 3.5 weeks, and they shot the film over 4 weeks in Reseda. The role of Frankie was originally offered to Madonna. That was the suggestion of one of the executives at New World Pictures. But Madonna declined it because she was getting a lead role in the film Desperately Seeking Susan, which became a modest hit that year. So ultimately, Kim Richards got the role because, according to the producer, he thought she was the sexiest 19-year-old in the planet. Now, originally, Kim Richards had a topless scene in the film, or a nude scene, but unfortunately, they ended up cutting it from the final cut because her management thought had requested it because it didn't feel right with the tone. And kudos to that. I mean, we didn't really need something of that element in this type of film. Usually don't, but I know it was an 80s prerequisite, an 80s trope, if you will. But and also Robert Downey Jr.'s role was originally offered to Crispin Glover, but he was doing another film at the time, so of course he dropped out and Robert Downey Jr. was in. And so yeah, that's the trivia of Tuff Turf. And it's time to give you guys my final review of the film, final rating. Tuff Turf, what did I give it? Okay, so as much as the core plot is redundant, and of course, I know there's people out there who say, oh, it's the same old thing, girl meets boy, girl's boyfriend or loved one is the bully or the bad guy, But there was something special about this film. I feel like the music really amplified. I think this could be a great double feature with Streets on Fire. I actually like Streets on Fire. I feel it's an underrated film in my opinion. And overall, James Spader saved this movie. He's definitely one of the reasons to watch it. His performance is great. It's good to see him. I'm usually used to seeing him as like these scumbaggish type characters. I don't know if it's his look or not, or the way he presents himself. I'm used to him play bad guys, but here he is as a good guy, and I actually kind of like it. I always like to see actors do something different, and to have James Spader play both a hero and a villain in the span of like a whole year is just mind blowing. Because as you know, I reviewed the New Kids a few months back, and I praised his villain performance in that. Here I'm praising his hero performance. He actually did a really good job with this film. And of course, Robert Downey Jr., I can't say enough about the guy. I love his work. Even in this film, he's playing this drummer, and he's the crazy best friend. And I can't say enough about Kim Richards. I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching Meatballs Part 2 as a preteen, I had a bit of a crush on her. I'm not gonna lie back then. So to see her in this again, just brought back some childhood memories of mine. But ultimately, I'm going to give this a B, a solid B for this film. Absolutely enjoyed it. Of course, with most of the films I review on Throwback Cinema, you can see this right now on Tubi. So yeah, if you want to see Tuff Turf, check it out. Check it out on Tubi right now. It's a fun film, so definitely recommend it. And that's the end of this month's Throwback Cinema review. And next month, July, we're going to Los Angeles again, but this time we're going to more serious matter. We're going to talk about William Friedkin's awesome crime drama, To Live and Die in L.A. So that's going to be July's. Now, August, I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do in August, which film I'm going to review. I will just keep an eye out to see what August throwback review is. I'm debating between a couple films right now. I'm not sure which one yet, but it's going to eventually come down to it. And once that's all set, I'll let you guys know. So, until that day comes, this is your friendly neighborhood World Film Geek, Albert Valentin. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the World Film Geek YouTube channel. And don't forget, July 12th at 3 p.m., I will be live streaming our 10th anniversary celebration. There's going to be, might be a few guests along the way who might be joining me on this just to have a chat. And I'm going to talk about some of my favorite films, some lost gems that I like to share with you guys that I have, and stuff like that. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. And until then, you guys, as always, stay awesome.